What's up guys, Pokémon here, and welcome to the next episode where today you guys will be learning how to draw your very own custom Pokemon cards like I've done right here. As you guys can see, this card is entirely hand-drawn, from the picture to the attacks. Absolutely everything about it was done by hand, by me. So if you guys want to learn how to do this, and a lot more, all for yourself, then without further ado, let's get into the video. Now your very first step will be to choose the type of Pokemon card you'd like to make. Is it just a basic card, or is it an EX, maybe a GX, a V card, or even a full art card? In any case though, it's important you find a reference, so look through your entire collection of Pokemon cards, or look through some images, and find something that you like. Now, I know it's tempting, but for your first time, I'd recommend doing something simple. This way it's hard to mess up on the side of the art, and there's a much higher chance that it'll turn out the way you want it. With that in mind, for this tutorial, I'll be creating a basic Sword and Shield style card. However, for you ambitious types, I'll also be creating a full art card afterwards. Can you guess what it is? It might have something to do with our recent 10,000 subscribers milestone. Thank you for that, by the way. But like I said, it's important to have a reference, and my reference for the template will be this Toxel here. If you do not have an actual Pokemon card for a reference, or you don't have the type that you want to create, that's no problem. This is, after all, creating your own Pokemon cards, so I think it's safe to assume some of you may not have some real ones. But anyways, you can always just look up an image of whatever you want and use that. Although a physical reference is always preferable if you have access to that. Now that you've selected a card for reference, let's begin drawing our own card. And for this, you will need a few materials. Firstly, you'll want to select the type of paper you'd like to use. Obviously, Pokemon cards are pretty solid, so I'd recommend getting some kind of hard, cardstock type paper that'll be similar. To satisfy this, I've got just that, this pretty thick paper. However, if all you have access to is normal paper, you can also make that work. Next, you'll want an X-Acto knife and scissors. Both are highly recommended, however, you can get away with just using one. After that, you'll need a ruler. This will be useful for making straight cuts with the X-Acto knife, if you got one, which hopefully you do. And also for measurements, of course. You'll also want a pencil. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. After all, we are drawing our own Pokemon cards, right? But obviously, it's very important. And also, if you have a fine tip marker or pen, would also be great for outlining your pencil work afterwards. Finally, as we are using an X-Acto knife, naturally a cutting board is pretty useful. You definitely don't want to be scratching up your precious desk, right? So finally beginning our work, your first step will be to take your reference card and trace it onto your paper. So this way you can get the exact size and dimensions of a real Pokemon card. If you are unable to do this because you don't have an actual physical reference, or any Pokemon card at all to trace, then that's no problem. The exact dimensions of a Pokemon card is 6.3 cm by 8.8 cm, so using your ruler, you can simply create a rectangle in that size. And once you've got the basic shape of your Pokemon card traced out, it's time to cut it out. So using your X-Acto knife, simply cut along all the sides, being careful not to cut off too much, and doing this on all four sides until your Pokemon card is free from its papery prison. So now that you set your card free, you may notice that it looks a little odd. That's because it's obviously not rounded yet, and we aren't making Cybertruck inspired cards, are we? You can leave the corners sharp though, if that's the kind of look you're going for, and honestly, it can look really cool, like these images I found online. But personally, I will be rounding my corners. You can do this simply by taking your scissors and cutting along your outline to make the corners a little bit more round. You can also take this time to clean up any rough edges left over from your X-Acto knife cutting, but after that, you've got a perfectly sized Pokemon card. So now that the basic shape of your Pokemon card is complete, it's time to draw the template. And for this step, you can do it one of two ways. Neither of which are inherently right or wrong, it's just entirely up to you and what you want out of your Pokemon card. The first way is just to eyeball everything. You don't even need to use a ruler at all if you don't want to, and simply draw everything as you see it. Honestly, I don't think this is wrong at all, and it really embraces the DIY aspect of these Pokemon cards. As you can see with this image, everything here is improvised, and results in a really cool, unique looking Pokemon card. It's also a lot quicker, I'd imagine, which is definitely a plus. And the next way is to do everything by exact dimensions and make it look absolutely perfect. Like I said, neither is the wrong way to do it, but this is the way I'll be doing for this tutorial, and this is the look I personally typically prefer. So what I'm doing here is taking my reference card, either the digital or physical version that you have, and pretty much copying its outline. I'm doing this precisely by taking my ruler and using it to get the exact dimensions of the elements from the real Pokemon card, so that I can then transfer them to my own. For example, as you just saw, I'm measuring the width of the border, which I found to be about 3mm, and then marking down exactly 3mm from the edge of my own Pokemon card so that I can get a perfectly spaced border. I'm then doing this for the rest of the card, such as that box that the Pokemon art is in, and so on. Again, I'm doing this because I want it to be as close to the real deal as possible, but if this is too complicated for you, that is taking a ruler and getting exact measurements, then you can just take your ruler and wing it. Honestly, this is your own Pokemon card, so do it however you want. One more recommendation before you actually start though. I'm going to recommend using a pencil first, just in case you make any mistakes. Don't worry, we will get to using the fine tip marker or the pen when it's all done. You should also draw very lightly with that pencil, so it's easily erasable, because again, if you make any mistakes, you definitely don't want them to show afterwards. So I did my border, the box that the Pokemon art is in, and really all major box or shape type elements that my card had. And this is where your card may differ a little bit depending on its generation. Obviously, this Sword and Shield style card is slightly different in design from a base set one, but still, at this stage, make sure you've got all the elements of the template done, just like me. All that you should be excluding at this point is the Pokemon art, and any lettering, like the name, attacks, HP, and so on. Now, next we're actually going to take a break from the drawing and do a bit of coloring. As you can see, my card is yellow, and so I'm going to take a yellow pencil crayon and color in my entire card in, you guessed it, yellow. You can do this as well with whatever color your card is. I'm doing this first before I proceed to the rest of the template because it'll be very difficult to color around things like the lettering of the attacks, the name, the HP, or really anything that has some fine details. So instead of having to deal with that, we'll just write on top of the color afterwards. Also, I'll be using pencil crayons in this tutorial, just because I think either this or markers are what most of you will have access to at home. But honestly, you can use absolutely whatever you want. I will, however, be using paint for the special full art version I do at the end, so if you want to see how that's done, then make sure to stick around until then. So after you've done the color for your template, it should be looking similar to this. Now that we've drawn in all the larger template type elements, as well as colored in our card of course, it's obviously still looking a little blank. So now it's time to fill in all that text and all that other sort of filler that we previously left out. So that is the name, attacks, description, and anything else on your card. You'll really appreciate having done the coloring first though, because now it's super easy to simply just write over it. Again, this is your card though, so leave out or add anything that you'd like. But after you're done with this step, there should be nothing more to add template-wise. So I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. So first the name and the HP, then the attacks, and whatever else follows. You may also notice that after I'm done, I'm going to go over everything that's in pencil with a black fine tip marker. If you have access to that, or a black pen, or really anything, then that really makes it look polished. So I'd highly recommend doing this as well. Also, you can quickly go over any little minor things that need a little bit more coloring here, such as the energies or anything else that has that extra coloring on the template that you didn't previously do. So once you've done that is done all the lettering, and then went over it in a black fine tip marker, you should be totally satisfied with your template. All the coloring and outlining is done, and now all that's left is the image of the Pokemon itself. So now, finally, all that's left to do is the actual Pokemon art, and I'm sure many of you are looking forward to this part. And the good thing is, it's not too complicated at all. All you have to do here is simply do your best to replicate the Pokemon card you're basing your design off of. Out of all the steps though, this one is by far the most in your control. We were following a rather specific formula while drawing the templates, but here, with the image, whatever you do is totally up to you. You can draw literally anything you want here. Go ahead and create your own Fakemon, that is, a fan-made Pokemon. Or take an existing Pokemon and put it in your own environment. Or, as I'm doing here, you can also just copy another Pokemon card and put your own little spin on it. This might be the safest method in my opinion. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into the art. So there we go, we've done it. That is quite a beautiful card, I must say. And at this point, you are officially done. The front, that is. You may have forgotten, but Pokemon cards actually have backs too. Again, this is your card, so put as much or as little effort into the back as you'd like. It is the back, so it doesn't really matter nearly as much as the front. Like most of what we've done though, you can put your own design here, if you'd like, but I'll just be copying the normal back of a Pokemon card. So, not too complicated here, I'll simply just draw it out, outline it in black, and then color it. Once you've finished the back, now you're officially done. Don't go just yet though, because as promised, for those of you who are a little bit more ambitious, I will now be creating a full art Primal Groudon card, completely from scratch, just like we did with that Toxel. And with this one, I will be using paint to make it look just a little bit cooler. Now, you guys that have stuck around until now, you guys are the real ones, and I really wanted to thank you guys. So, in spirit of the channel hitting 10,000 subscribers, I know, a crazy number, I wanted to do something special for the video that originally kickstarted my channel, and really got it to where it is today. I won't bore you guys with a long speech, but honestly, I never imagined so many of you guys would watch and enjoy my videos. So this one's for you guys, and this one is for that Primal Groudon that originally started it all. So there we have it, and with that, I've just completed my very own custom Primal Groudon card, and you've hopefully created a card that you can be proud of as well. I'll be honest here, this thing turned out a lot better than I expected, and I'm super happy with it. Even so though, it makes me even happier that I was able to share the process with you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, where I showed you guys how to draw your very own custom Pokemon cards. If you have any questions, or you need any help at all, do not be afraid to leave a comment, I'll definitely respond to it. And if you enjoyed, pressing that subscribe button is also much appreciated. But anyways, thank you guys so much again, and without further ado, I'll see you in the next episode.